All right, guys, we are live once again. How much fun are we having? I've always wanted to go live, and some people thought maybe that's not a good idea if we make mistakes, but I don't really care. I love just seeing what you guys are thinking about these stories, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot of topics to discuss today. Again, forgive us if the audio is not perfect. I'm hearing a lot of sirens. I'm out here in Los Angeles. But the RNC, what did everybody think about it? I feel that the Twitter chatter was quite split. There were definitely some moments. Some people felt like the RNC was appealing to people on the basis of DEI initiatives. Other people thought that it was really well done. I mean, there were definitely some good moments and some bad moments. We're going to go over a few of those. First and foremost, and I say this with the most kindness in my heart, I actually love her as a lawyer. I think she has been tremendous in fighting for American freedoms and defending the Constitution. Harmeet Dillon, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys in case you missed it. But she is a leader. Obviously, she's a Republican leader, and she decided to lead the Republican National Convention with something known as an ARDAS. Okay, it is it's a song. It's also a prayer, and it is something that is done if you adhere to Sikhism. So I just want to go ahead and show you guys a clip of that taking place on the RNC stage. Take a listen.
Dear Waheguru, our one true God, we thank you for creating America as a unique haven on this earth where all people are free to worship according to their faith. We seek your blessings and guidance for our beloved country.
Okay, I'll let you guys comment. For me, I just thought, first and foremost, what is this? Secondly, who is this for? Who is the intended audience? I guess, what is the RNC for? What is the purpose of the RNC? What is this convention about? Are we trying to bring voters in? Are we just trying to assert who we are as conservatives? If it is the former, how does this help? If it is the latter, how does this help? That's where I was. It's just, what is this? Literally, why? Why is this? I thought to myself. And again, this is not a personal jab at Harmeet Dillon. She's definitively somebody who punches for America and should be supported. But whose idea was this? That was the other thing. When you sit around and you're like, okay, we are planning the Republican convention. Who rose their hand and was like, what if we do something known as an ARDAS? And then someone said, tell me more. What's that? And they said, well, actually, if you didn't know about this, well, first and foremost, 7% of Americans are Asian Americans. And of that 7%, 1% adhere to Sikhism. Oh, tell me more. And of that 1% of the 7%, they do this prayer. And then someone in that meeting said, yeah, no, go with that. That's definitely the thing to do. Huh? What? This is why I think, and this is a moment in which I think a lot of people were responding and going, what are we doing here? Are we now the same party that critiques DEI and then also practices it at certain points? Because this for me, if I'm running the RNC, if I'm running the convention, I'm going, this is just, it's not emblematic of America. It's not to say that you can't find a melting pot in different cultures within America, but this is not something that patriots are rallying behind. It doesn't make any sense for this to be on the RNC stage. So I saw this, I didn't think it made any sense, and I can tell you, for those of you who are like me going, what is Sikhism? I have no idea what this is. Here are the basic 5 tenets of it. They believe there's only one God, that God is without form or gender. Everyone has direct access to him, everyone is equal before him, and a good life is served as part of a community by living honestly and caring for others. They also do not believe in empty religious rituals, and superstitions have no value. So I hope that helps you a little bit. By the way, those religious tenets, that is as offered by the BBC. If you were as confused as me, I hope now you have some clarity. And by some clarity, I mean you should still be utterly confused as to why the RNC thought that that was a necessary thing to include in its evening program. But moving on to the moment that everybody was divided on. Every single person on it was like a war, like in the conservative space online. People that were coming out and being like, what on earth, why on earth, similar to me asking this question about Harmeet's Ardas prayer or Ardas performance. Amber Rose That Amber Rose, the slut walk Amber Rose. For those that are not aware of Amber Rose before she hit the RNC stage, she is known for hosting annually, or she has in the past hosted annually for many years, what is known as the slut walk, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's women that are embracing their slut and walking around downtown Los Angeles half naked and basically saying, it's not my body, my choice, but like, just because I'm naked doesn't mean that I can't, or just because I'm a slut doesn't. I actually don't know what the slut walk is about. And I can tell you definitively, I have been a person who has been harsh and critiqued this walk in the past, as well as those people who participated in this walk, because it is emblematic of the very many things that are wrong in this country. Like I talk about hoe culture the entire time. We're embracing this, and it is actually an evil, and it is an evil that is actually disruptive to women, genuinely, above and beyond. The people that are hurt the most by the idea that women have to be naked in order to be heard are women themselves. We devalue ourselves, we debase ourselves, and we make it difficult, virtually impossible for men to respect us when we denigrate ourselves and parading around the street with our boobs out because, I don't know, my friend invited me on a Saturday and that's what I should do. So it's understandable that people had some reaction, suddenly, what is Amber Rose doing here? And some people pointed out, oh, she's got a tattoo on her forehead. But actually her speech was a highlight of the evening. So I'm going to let you guys take a listen to just a small piece of it.
The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse. And I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, no, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about? And when I insisted, he said, prove it. So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong.
So she looked classy, she delivered points, but if we go back to trying to assess her being on stage according to the same metric that I was using for Harmony Dillon, who is this speaking to and what does this signify? Well, actually, it spoke to a lot of people. You know, I know that it's difficult for people to recognize that this is the culture that we live in, but it is, right? So there are very many women who are living a life or have been living a life like Amber Rose on OnlyFans, trying to get attention, trying to sell their bodies. Quite literally, that's what she was doing in Hollywood, trying to sell your body to get a magazine cover and to book a magazine cover. So people are watching her and seeing her try to transition into something else. And it is going to signify, whether you believe it should or not, to other women who are living this sort of a life, that they can be something else. And so what I struggle with the Republican Party, or rather the conservative movement, are these purity tests, okay? Which is to say, and I went through this, so I am saying this very much with a chip on my shoulder, because I had to suffer purity tests when I first jumped into conservative thinking. And I want to say, it is not an overnight process, right? So when I first was red pill black and started my YouTube channel, I just realized that BLM on its face was a lie. That was it. I was going, okay, Trump getting elected is not going to put us back into chains. I don't like all of this racist rhetoric. And I actually do believe that you should work hard and not receive handouts. That's how I've lived my life. So does that make me a conservative? And in saying that and putting out these videos, my videos were going so viral. I was being invited onto Fox News. And of course I went, because wow, that's amazing. I can say something that I believe in, and you're telling me there's an audience of people that want to hear this. Amazing. And then instantly the purity test came. And it was, well, actually, who is red pill black? What does she actually believe about this particular issue? How would she solve what's going on in Afghanistan at the moment? And what are her perspectives on abortion? And suddenly you're being inundated with questions that you've never actually thought through. You said this thing that you actually believe, and you're not there yet. You haven't actually locked all of these things into place. Can we make it easy for people to take that first step? She's not getting up there and saying she's a Christian, By the way, I don't think very many people that hit that stage could get up there and say that they are Christians or embodying Christianity, because the Republican National Convention is not something that was established for only Christians, right? There's a difference between being a Christian and being a conservative and being a Republican. Sometimes you can be all three, but not all the times, right? And some people are just economic conservatives. Maybe she's an economic conservative, but the point is that she said something that she believed to be true, that she felt the media was lying to her about Donald Trump, okay? And instantly that media, that leftist media, came to her and they said, you're not allowed to say that. You wanna know why? Because you're our slut, right? You're our slut. We already sold you leftism, and that's all you'll ever be. And she stood up to them. I showed that clip a while ago of Amber Rose, and Amber Rose was being chased by TMZ, and they're going, how could you? You know, you were the founder of the Slut Walk. And she held her ground, and she said something very important that I believe in very much. People are allowed to evolve. So when we then say to those people who are trying to evolve that you went from being a slut to being imperfect and we don't want you, that makes other people who are seeing that fearful that they can't also change their minds, that they can't also become something different. Now, to speak to those who feel, okay, but why did the RNC put her on the main stage? I think that's a valid feeling, and I especially know that I felt that way specifically because years ago they put Kim Klacik at the center of the stage, and they had not even done any due diligence. Like, they did not know about her past, working at a strip club, and quite frankly, she was lying about a lot of that stuff publicly. And I took her to task on that, and I ended up in a lawsuit with Kim Klacik, and I won that lawsuit after years of having to pay legal fees. I won that lawsuit against her when she tried to sue me for defamation because she wasn't being honest about her past. And I still feel that she completely ran the Republican Party and raised tons of money off of one viral video, and nobody did their due diligence. So I understand that feeling of, are we being duped? Has the RNC done any due diligence? And so again, I want to validate those concerns, but by also saying that you can feel that, but your quarrel would be with the RNC, not with Amber Rose. So let's not join the chorus of people who are denigrating her on the basis that she has an OnlyFans account that my understanding is that she hasn't posted content to it, and instead try to welcome her. And I've had, just to be open about this, a conversation with her, and I sensed very much, I'm a gut player, that she was very genuine and that she is very much struggling right now because of this horrible limbo of realizing that your friends on the left don't want you anymore because God forbid you wear a MAGA hat, and your potential friends on the right are now crawling through your pages and saying, ha ha ha, look at this girl, she's a conservative, she's supposed to be on stage. Let's just not do that. Let's just not do that. Let's just press pause for a second and give her the space to learn, because she is not going to be what we would want her to be if she decides to stay within this realm. She's simply sharing her story, and I think that she's very much allowed to do that. So if you disagree with that, let me know in the comments. I want to take a quick break here. We actually have a new advertiser on the show, which I'm really excited about. And as we were talking about with Amber, we all know that life can be extremely unpredictable, but what everybody needs is a good life insurance policy, a plan that can give your family a financial safety net to protect against some of the unknowns. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. It can help you easily compare your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. Their award-winning agents can even walk you through the process step by step. Policy Genius has no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can absolutely trust their guidance. This is all about just insurance shopping. They have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online, and they let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Everybody hates those insurance policy medical exams. Even though I pass them with flying colors, why don't you skip around this by going to Policy Genius? Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/Candace or click link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/Candace. Okay, guys, OMG. I don't know if you guys have seen this clip. I told you about it yesterday. There was someone who actually predicted that Donald Trump was going to get shot in the ear back in March. No, I'm not kidding around. Somebody tagged me in this video. I said, no way is this real. Okay, so this man, his name is Brandon Biggs. He alleges that he's a pastor. I could not confirm that information. I don't know if he's like a self-stylized pastor, but the point is that he went on a Christian author's show. That Christian's name is Steve Cioccolanti, and he just basically said he foresaw an attempt on the president's life in which President Donald Trump was going to survive. I'm going to let you listen to that. Again, this was published onto YouTube on March 14th. Take a listen.
I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking, people say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and there things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting, and then there will be a great economy crash.
I mean, is everybody as shook by that as I was when I saw it? I went, what is going on? And it's not even just accurately predicting that he would survive it and that it would hurt his ear. And that in and of itself is unbelievable. But then even the fact that he predicted that immediately following this, the lawsuits that people were throwing at him would be dropped. That quite literally happened. They dropped the huge lawsuit. You put together this entire panel to go after Trump for these documents that he took, and then suddenly the judge just threw it out. And again, that's obviously one of many lawsuits that have been against him, but that is something. And then also saying that this would draw Trump into Christianity somehow. This would be a draw for him to become more faithful. Well, let me just remind you, jog your memory here, but the second post that he posted following the shooting was this onto Truth Social. He wrote, "Thank you to everyone for your thoughts and prayers yesterday, as it was God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening. We will fear not, but instead remain resilient in our faith and defiant in the face of wickedness. Our love goes out to the other victims and their families. We pray for the recovery of those who are wounded and hold in our hearts the memory of a citizen who was so horribly killed. In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true character as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win. I truly love our country and love you all and look forward to speaking to our great nation this week from Wisconsin." So this is not the Trump that I'm used to, hearing him speak about faith as a form of defiance, hear him speaking about God having prevented the unthinkable from happening and asking for people to pray. I mean, this is just not the Trump that I think that we're used to. So maybe that is an indication. And I'm sure for a lot of people, by the way, when you have any sort of a near-death experience or where you look and you go, wow, by 1 inch, I could have been dead. And that is the reality. Like if he had just moved 1 inch, he could have been dead. Or if his head was turned, it was not turned at all, and he continued looking forward, Donald Trump could be dead today. And that has to impact you. That has to have real impact onto you. So it will be interesting to see if that part of this prophecy plays out. Now, of course, what is kind of alarming about this is later on he says that he sees Trump winning, and then followed by Trump winning the election, there is going to be a very hard economic times, and he sees Trump praying in the Oval Office. Now, who knows now? Everybody deems himself a prophet. Tons of people make a bunch of insinuations, a bunch of predictions, and maybe once in a blue moon you get something right. But I think that was oddly specific. And I see people in the comments now saying that he wasn't the only one who did this, but I just wanted to draw this to attention because I just thought that was just insane to see it circulating all over the internet that this man made that prediction. It really is something, to say the least. Now, we need to go back and talk about this shooting because so much is happening, so many things that are being updated, and you're just going, what the heck is, what really is going on here? Who knew what? When did they know it? Again, are we still supposed to believe that this person just was able to load up and sling this rifle onto his back and scale onto a rooftop and nobody saw anything. Of course, we don't believe that. And it seems almost as if they're scrambling to give us more information. First, they said the FBI couldn't get into his phone. Then they said yesterday, oh no, great, we actually figured out how to get into his phone. I'm glad to hear that you were able to get into this nobody's phone. You are, of course, the FBI with access to the NSA, and you're monitoring every single second of all of our lives. I mean, new thing that you have to do now is take a picture every time you're at the airport. That, for what reason? Is it making us safer or freer? No, it's just more data for them to collect. They just want to see how your face is changing every time you fly. But first, they wanted us to think that this kid really stumped him. They couldn't get into his phone. Well, now they're into his phone and they say, well, we find no connections. There's nothing going on here. There's no connections to anybody else. Ha! Yeah, right. Again, this lone shooter nonsense. Nobody is buying it. Why don't you start listening to the conspiracy theorists? Okay? The reality is that your CIA spent the better part of the decade of the 60s experimenting on how to create Manchurian candidates, which is how do we infiltrate the psyche of someone and inspire them to kill. That is a reality. You have to face that reality. I will say this on the show over and over again. I do not care what I am called at all, because it is high time that people wake up to true evil. And a lot of it is cowardice. People don't want to face this. You don't want to face the plausibility, rather the actuality that our deep state agencies have organized and executed the assassinations of presidents in the past. But that's a reality. You got to stop being a coward. You got to face the reality, because the more people that know it, that this is the only way that we represent a threat to them, is when too many people know it, when there's just too many of us for them to go after. And so when you see this situation take place, okay, you go, what the heck is this about? What is this ever about? What are they actually trying to do other than also get power for themselves? And here are some more updates regarding that specific situation. Local police, who were assigned by the Secret Service to help spot threats in the crowd at the rally, were inside the building where the gunman had positioned himself on the roof to shoot at the former president. That's at least according to a Secret Service official brief. So they were inside the building, you guys, but they just didn't see anybody scaling on top of it. They weren't even worried about their own safety. They weren't worried that they would be ambushed from behind. They just were inside the building doing God knows what. Then, of course, our resident DEI U.S. Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, claimed during an interview with ABC News that the personnel were not positioned on top of the building where the shooter opened fire because of a quote-unquote sloped roof. Oh, okay, so the roof was too sloped for our nation's Secret Service and FBI officials, supposed to be the people that are the fittest ever, right, for protecting the president. I'd like to think that you could outrun a bullet, but they couldn't scale this roof. But this dinky-looking kid who can't even grow out facial hair, yeah, well, he was able to do it very, very easily. That was very easy for him. Nobody is buying that whatsoever. In fact, if you actually look at the map, it shows you that, or if you look at the footage rather, you'll notice that the roof that the shooter shot from is less sloped than the roof that the Secret Service who eventually took him out was sitting on. Okay, so that roof was actually less sloped. Makes entirely no sense for them to be saying this, but again, they're just trying to hit us with so much information that we're confused, and we just think, again, that it was a remarkable failure of intelligence, and that is not what I believe whatsoever. As I said, despite getting into this young man's phone, no further information has been provided, and this is the worst part. This has been confirmed. He was spotted on the rooftop 26 minutes before the shooting occurred. Don't be a conspiracy theorist, you guys. Don't think. I don't want you thinking. If you're watching this and you're thinking about thinking, please stop. Please wait until the experts come out and tell you what to think about that. Let's wait to hear from Rachel Maddow, Don Lemon, people that went to the schools where they know how to process information. They know how to discern between disinformation and misinformation. And they know what is a conspiracy theory and what is not a conspiracy theory. And let me tell you something. It is perfectly normal, I'm sure they're going to tell us, that the Secret Service would spot somebody on a rooftop with a rifle 26 minutes before he fires the president. That means that the Secret Service agent, and this is what is being alleged, had his scope on the shooter and allowed the shooter to fire first before he took him out. So that would be allowing 6 shots to go out and then shooting at him. But again, this was all just a remarkable failure of intelligence. That's literally, obviously, what it was. You're not even going to believe this headline. Actually, you are going to believe it, because if you watch this show, I've been telling you the elites have already decided that we're going to war. So get on board, everybody. We're going shopping, okay? I've been covering this quite literally for years, that it's very obvious in their rhetoric that they want war with Russia and Iran. And what do you know, guys? Lo and behold, in one presidency, we're suddenly inching ever closer to war with Russia, because we just got to help Ukraine out. You know, they're just such good people over in Ukraine. They've suspended elections. They're locking down the churches. The Bolsheviks are back, baby. The Bolsheviks are in charge, and they're coming after the Christians again. But you're not even going to know, right? Rather, the Christians are just going to be quiet and allow this to happen and forget what happened in that region not so long ago. Anyways, now, obviously, the rhetoric has been increasing against Iran, and this headline ran in CNN. Exclusive. Secret Service ramped up security after receiving intel of Iranian plot to assassinate Trump. No known connection to shooting. Yeah, no known connection just yet. This is what we term a false flag event. So, if Trump had died, maybe they would have blamed it on Iran. Who knows? But are they actually trying to sell us to the public that Iran was plotting to shoot Trump? And we're supposed to believe that not only did they increase his Secret Service presence, but despite that, despite this real life threat from Iran, the country that they keep telling us that they want us to go die for, they want us to go die on behalf of fighting Iran, rather. But now they're trying to sell to us that the Secret Service got this intel, saw this man on a rooftop for 26 minutes, and just watched his hair swaying in the wind. They just wanted to see what was going to happen. Yeah, trust the experts, guys. Believe this intel. I know it fits like a perfect piece of a puzzle that they have been wanting to go to war with Russia and Iran, and suddenly now they're trying to tell you that there's an excuse. And intel, by the way, if you're looking for disinformation and misinformation, the intel agencies are just dropping these things because false flag events are real. We know that because there once was a president named JFK, and he was told via Operation Northwoods, you can look this up, and you should look this up, okay, just go to Wikipedia, that the CIA wanted to establish a false flag event back in the 60s because they wanted to go to war with Cuba. So they were going to kill Americans, they were going to stage a fake terror attack, blame it on the Cubans, kill either American troops or American civilians, and they had different options. We should kill them down in Miami, we can kill them down in New York, and then we'll blame it on Cuba, or we could just down a ship or a fighter jet, whatever we want to do, we could down it, and then we'll tell the American people that now we have to go to war with Cuba. That's a real thing that happened. But that brave president, Catholic president, said, no, I will not do this morally to the American people. And then unfortunately, you guys, he was involved in a car accident. And by involved in a car accident, I mean he was accidentally shot by those same agencies who he said no to. So that's just the reality of things. I just want to make sure that you guys know that that is actually happening. That's what's actually going on in our society. And I would just need people to be willing to call it out, to say exactly what it is. We understand what's happening. We understand the risk to Donald Trump's life. You know, yesterday I was talking to you all about how I didn't really know how to feel about J.D. Vance, but I felt optimistic just based on his voting record, and me believing at the time that he had stood up to the military-industrial complex. And I started getting text messages from a lot of my friends who were saying, what are you talking about? He also is beholden, you know, some people were saying he's Peter Thiel's puppet. So basically what it means is that Peter Thiel, that is the billionaire who is definitively Republican, who did fund much of J.D. Vance's career, but they're saying that he is a part of the military-industrial complex. And then I saw a clip of him, and I'm not going to show it because I don't want to take him out of context, but he was definitively talking about Iran at the RNC, speaking to a Fox News host about how to deal with them. Now, I took from the clip that he could have been saying, you know, when Trump dealt with Iran, he attacked Soleimani, and that was it. It did not lead to a broader conflict, and he was also talking about the Abraham Accords. But just in my opinion, I just would like to know if it's possible, and let me know if I'm crazy. Hear me out. This is an idea, but you can tell me if I'm crazy. could we just not bomb the Middle East? Could we just, America, could we just stop bombing the Middle East and stop selling to us that we're doing this for peace and prosperity and freedom? We've been bombing the Middle East for like, I don't know, decades. Okay? It's not freer. We're not more prosperous. We're not safer. Nobody's buying this rhetoric anymore. I mean, seriously, how many people in the Middle East have to die for Americans to wake up and realize that we are up to no good? How many people, how many bombs have to be dropped in Syria for the American people to wake up and recognize this is not about making us freer or more safe? There is something operating just beneath the surface called the military-industrial complex, and what their initiatives are not aligned with the American people's interests. And so any person who does not have the spine or the backbone to stand up and say, hey, you elect me and I will vote against every measure that makes it so that you have to go to work and we have to spend your dollars overseas until America is fixed. Find me those individuals, because they are so few and far between, because the majority of people in Congress and in Hollywood, from DC to Hollywood, are blackmailed. There is no real power in DC, okay? There are a bunch of spineless, feckless politicians who are all blackmailed, and a bunch of men who are way too puny to stand up and to say things out of fear of not getting lobby dollars. We're pathetic. We are pathetic. We don't produce men like we used to anymore. And of course, there's one or two who pop up. Rand Paul, Thomas Massey. These are the people, the 1, 2, 3, or 4 people that we have in Congress that are actually serving the American interests. And so I don't know. I don't know what to think about J.D. Vance just yet. I am hopeful he is going to develop a spine. I am hopeful that I can trust Tucker Carlson's analysis of J.D. Vance. But at the same time, I am becoming increasingly more cynical that everybody has got a master somewhere, and for whatever reason, that master is never the American people. And that's all I'm going to say on that topic. Now, what I do want to do, guys, is just very quickly jump into the comments here. I see what you guys are saying. This is the best channel. Thank you, Courtney. I see you. It is sending an awful message about us to the rest of the world, absolutely. And people, by the way, we're developing enemies all around the world, and we don't really know why we have all these enemies. And it's because people around the world think that we are our deep state. And that's why it's important for us to signal to them that we're not. We disagree with what they're doing too. We are absolutely helpless as well. They've turned America into baby Babylon. I don't even think it's baby Babylon. I think it's adolescent Babylon, or adult Babylon. Maybe this is grandma Babylon. I don't even know. Like we're quite progressed on this satanic agenda that is being operated here, and people hate us for what our deep state is doing. This person says money is their master. Yes, and that is why the Bible preaches against it. I know a lot of people are commenting that the neocons support Vance, and that is the reason why we should know that he's not good. And yes, there are some voices in the media who support Vance that I wouldn't trust a thing that comes out of their mouth. In fact, sometimes there are some neocons that are so neocon-y that if they support anything, I know it's bad. Like, the litmus test is, do the neocons support it? And if the answer is yes, we love him, then I instantly know that we should not. But again, I want to give Vance a little bit of runway, but I'm suspicious. This person writes, Christ is king. Indeed, he is. I couldn't agree more with you. Yay, 24. Money and power. Spot on. Term limits for all members of Congress and Senate. Yeah, that would help. Term limits would help, because I think they wouldn't be able to spin the blackmail fast enough if they knew that new people were being elected all the time, and the people that were in office would not be incentivized by lobbying dollars, because they would go, okay, I'm only going to be in office for 4 years, then I have to go back and be a regular citizen. So I want to make sure that the taxes are low, and I want to make sure that government is restricted, and I want to make sure that we deregulate the economic environment. And I definitely believe that would help a tremendous amount if we could actually do that. Neocon-y, trademark this. Yes, they are neocon-y. I can't stand them. I have such contempt for neocons, because it's just the way that they act, the audacity to pretend that they care about Trump, right? It's just everything you have done has been antithetical to freedoms in this country, because you serve the master of money and power. But you say a couple of talking points that are conservative, and you've somehow earned an audience. You've spent all of your time trying to make sure Trump didn't get elected, which would mean that you wanted Hillary Clinton to get elected. back in 2016. And now you get to flip it and pretend that you're an expert on anything while you refer to, because they hold contempt for the American people. Like, they are the people that genuinely believe that their degree means something. Like we are smarter than you Americans. You can't figure it out. I mean, that's why I love people that just embody common sense, right? Like gut instinct, you know, people that come from nothing, work hard, just want to feed their families. To me, they are way more illustrative of what the American dream is and who the American people are. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to wrap this stream up, but I just want to thank you guys for joining us today. I've been loving going live. I see that you guys are loving it as well, and we're going to continue to do this for the rest of the week. And yeah, I'll see you guys back tomorrow.